What's up, guys? It's time. Week 1 is here. Welcome to the Talking Pigskin. I'm your host, Kishwar. I cannot believe it's been a year that I started doing these picks for you guys, and thank you for all the support I've received, all the questions you guys asked. It means a lot to me. I'm just an amateur analyst, if you want to call it. I'm sure I'm doing a better job than Tony Romo already. I'm not gonna fumble this one. This has been a great experience. I look forward to do this for this season and going forward. I hope all of you will enjoy it, and I cannot wait for the season to begin. Even though the Super Bowl was not what I wanted to see, seeing the Patriots win last year, but I have a new hope for this year. Absolutely not for the Jets. Let's not get that twisted. But for the other teams, it should be a good season to watch, and I'm very excited for it. So with all that being said, let's jump into Week 1 picks for the 2017 season. And the first one is tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, NFL kickoff night. The New England Patriots will be hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the world champions will be in a very good setting with Roger Goodell showing up to Foxborough for the first time since the whole Deflategate situation happened. So the fans will be energized, and he's going to hear it from the fan base tomorrow. Tom Brady will stick it to him just like he did in the Super Bowl. The Patriots are way too high powered this year. I see them run through the league as I predicted in the AFC East preview I did. But as for tomorrow night, they're facing the Chiefs, who are also a very good team in the AFC. I just don't think Alex Smith and company will be able to keep up with Tom Brady and that offense. That it'll be a pretty high scoring game. I don't see both defenses doing much on the game, but I think New England and Fort Quarter will just pull away. And Gronk and Dwayne Allen, and then you add Chris Hogan and Brandon Cooks. This offense is going to be high flying without a doubt. So New England will easily win that game tomorrow, especially with Spencer Ware out for the season in Kansas City. Don't see that team doing much anyway for tomorrow night at least. So there you have it for tomorrow night's game. Now let's move on to Sunday, Week 1 of this year. Now the first game we had was the Dolphins and Buccaneers. Unfortunately, due to Hurricane Irma incoming in South Florida region, the game had to be moved to Week 11, which is in November. It's unfortunate for Bucs and Dolphins because they won't have a bye week from Week 2 and on, so they'll play 16 straight games. But Hurricane is much bigger than football, and I know a lot of people in South Florida are embracing for a huge impact, and I wish them all the best. Hopefully, everyone makes it out of this crazy storm. So, looking out for you, South Florida. And in the other games we have on Sunday, first one we have the unfortunate New York Jets. Unfortunately, it's also my favorite team, as you guys know from last year. They'll be traveling to north of New York State and meet Buffalo. Now, the Bills, Tyrod Taylor was going through concussion protocol, but I believe he's cleared to play on Sunday. He will have LaShawn McCoy ready. And his offensive weapons, Sammy Watkins, Robert Woods, are no longer there. They're both in the Rams right now. So they have a rookie receiver in Zay Jones, who I heard pretty good things about. So I think Tyrod Taylor will be doing just fine. LaShawn McCoy will carry most of the load. And the defense is going to shut down that Jet offense. Let's face it, guys. The Jets have nothing to play for this year. Yes, a bunch of grown men playing football in that locker room don't want to hear that from the fan base. But for the betterment of the franchise, the Jets should just, I hate to say the word tank, but that's what they're going to do this year. I don't see much offense out of this team. Defense should be solid, but not enough to keep the offense in the game. So, unfortunately, the Jets will start the season with a loss, and I think it will continue and only go downward from there. So, there you have that. The Buffalo over the Jets, pretty big. Next game, we have the Arizona Cardinals traveling to the Detroit Lions. I believe this is going to be a great game. Carson Palmer back for another year. Now, Fitzgerald and John Brown, the receiving core. Plus, they have David Johnson, who's probably the number one pick in most of our fantasy leagues. They have a potent offense, no question about that. I'm just worried about their defense. With the absence of Calais Campbell, I'm not sure how the D-line is going to play. I know they brought back Chandler Jones, and they have Tyrann Mathieu and Pat Peterson in the secondary, but still, Calais Campbell was a leader. Not sure how you fill that void. On the other side, you have Matt Stafford, who just got paid big time. I believe this is going to be a good year for him. Him working with Golden Tate and Marvin Jones and Theo Riddick, Amir Abdullah is going to be great for that team. However, in that division, you also have the Packers, so they can't really do much to offset that. I believe it's going to be a close game. I know Arizona is favorite. However, I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions at home to pick this one, to win this one. Now, moving on to the next game, and we have the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to our nation's capital to take on the Washington Redskins. This is going to be a very good game. Any divisional matchup in the NFC East is always entertaining. I believe Carson Wentz will have a great sophomore year. He reminds me of so much of Ben Roethlisberger's first year when he went 15-1. I know he didn't go 15-1, but still a lot of the plays he did that it totally resembled Big Ben at the time when we had no idea how it was going to turn out. Look at him now. So Carson Wentz, I think, is going in the right direction with an awesome receiving core with Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith. And, of course, you're going to have Zach Ertz at the tight end. As for Washington, Kirk Cousins lost both of his receivers, Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon. He'll be with Terrell Pryor and Jameson and Crowder starting. Not sure how that's going to work out. Rob Kelly will be starting on running back. I don't think Washington defense, at least in the front seven, won't be good with the loss of Chris Baker, who is now in Tampa Bay. I believe Josh Norman will, do great against the Eagles receiver, but there's other two that they'll be running around open. So I take Philadelphia on the road to beat the Redskins. Now, next one we have is the Falcons at Bears. After that horrible Super Bowl choke job, the Falcons should probably take out all their anger in the Chicago Bears, who will have Mike Glennon starting. That team is also like the Jets this year. They won't have much to play for. I think Mitch Trubisky will be inserted into the lineup midway through the year. That team is depleted on both sides of the ball. Whereas Falcons, they will be great. Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman and company, they will come out ready to ball. The defense should be better with Desmond Trufant back. I think Falcons will be all over the Bears. Moving on to the next game, we have the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think Joe Flacco is starting, and I think Ryan Mallett will be starting in his place. Enough said. No need to go into details about the Baltimore Ravens. They will struggle. As for the Bengals, as I mentioned in my preview videos of the divisions, that they lost their offensive line, which is a big factor for Andy Dalton. Sure, he has A.J. Green, Joe Bernard, Joe Mixon, and all the other boys, but still, I think his protection will be a tough task this year, but I still believe the Bengals can beat the Ravens on Sunday. Next game we have is the Pittsburgh Steelers at Cleveland Browns. The Browns are in the rebuilding phase. Deshaun Kaiser will be starting. They do have Kenny Britt and Corey Coleman starting receiving core. I think they'll have a average offense. As for the defense, Myles Garrett just got injured today at practice. Not sure what the status is. As for Pittsburgh, they actually picked up Joe Hayden off free agency once the Browns let him go. Now they have a formidable defense with the secondary shored up, and of course Ryan Shazier will lead the linebacking core as well as the ageless wonder James Harrison. As for Big Ben, nothing needs to be said about him. He already has the best running back in the game in Le'Veon Bell, with the return of Martavis Bryant, and with the best receiver in the game in Antonio Brown. This team will be hard to stop on any Sunday, so Pittsburgh all over the Cleveland Browns. Moving on to the Jaguars and Texans. The Jaguars, Blake Bortles, have been struggling all preseason. I don't expect that to change, even though he has a pretty good offensive core. However, the Texans, this game will be played in NRG Stadium, so aftermath of Hurricane Harvey, the city will be pumped and ready to go. I want to see the team take their minds off all the devastation for at least 3 hours on Sunday. Tom Savage will be starting in place of Deshaun Watson. DeAndre Hopkins, who just got paid. Lamar Miller. They will all have to ball out for that city, and I pick Houston to win that game. Even though that offense don't need to really show up, because that defense will shut them down for sure. Next, we have one of the big matchups of the week, which is the Oakland Raiders at Tennessee Titans. I believe this is going to be the best game of the week. Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota is going to be a great matchup to watch. I do believe that Titans will win this out. They're just not going to start in a hot. Just not going to have a hot start. Sorry, I got tongue-tied. I think Derek Carr and that offense is going to be great with the addition of Marshawn Lynch now. Tennessee, with the addition of Eric Decker and Corey Davis at the receiving core, they will be formidable as well. I expect this game to be high scoring. Now that the defenses will be much of a factor, and I expect the Raiders to pull it out at the end. Moving on to the 4 o'clock games, and the first game we have is the Colts traveling to LA Rams. This game should be over real quick because Scott Tolzien is starting at quarterback. Rams defense without Aaron Donald may not be the same. However, Scott Tolzien is playing. Why even care? They're going to stack the box with 8-man fronts, and you're going to have Frank Gore try to run through that. Not going to happen. Rams with Jared Goff's second year already has the old Buffalo wide receiving core and Sammy Watkins and Robert Woods. Should be a good year for him. At least he should make some progress, and I'm picking the Rams to beat the Colts. Moving on to the Seahawks and Packers, also a great game for the week. Seahawks just got Sheldon Richardson from the Jets. That's a good pickup for them. The defense is always going to be great. However, that offense is always going to have question marks. Russell Wilson is great. So is Jimmy Graham, but they haven't fully clicked yet. Hopefully this will be their year. As for Green Bay Packers, they have the Messiah quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, my favorite guy in the league. Nothing needs to be said about him. I just hope his defense helps him out this year. I think Packers will win this game. This will be a very close game, but I just think Aaron Rodgers will pull it out at the end. Then we move on to Sunday Night Football. We have the New York Giants traveling to Dallas Cowboys. Now, Zeke will be active for this game, even though he might be out for week 2 to 8. I believe because of that, this team will play to make sure they send a message to the league that Dallas Cowboys should be feared this entire year. Well, they are the Cowboys, and as one of my very favorite broadcasters, Stephen A. Smith, would say, they're an accident waiting to happen, and they will let you down when you least expect it. So, Cowboys, they will have a good year, but then again, they'll fall. But that's for later. It's week 1. I think they'll win. As for the Giants, with the addition of Brandon Marshall and that already formidable defense, I think they'll have a good season as well. Just not on Sunday night. I just think it's wrong place and wrong time for them. Not sure about Odell's status yet, by the way. Moving on to Monday night games, we have a doubleheader. Week 1 tradition since ESPN won the rights for Monday Night Football. We have the Saints traveling to Minnesota Vikings. You have Adrian Peterson going against his old team. This should be a great matchup to watch. Vikings has a great defense, although they're going against Drew Brees and that offensive staff. This should be a very close game to watch because I believe Saints defense will not be able to control the Vikings offense. Yes, they're not great. Sam Bradford is average, but I still think he can put up points against this defense. In a very close game, I'm expecting New Orleans to pull this one out. And the last game for week 1, we have the LA Chargers. It just feels weird saying that. Traveling to Denver Broncos. Now, I expect a huge year from Phillip Rivers and company with the addition of Mike Williams at the draft. Their receiving core should be great. Keenan Allen's returning. Broncos, Trevor Siemian, second year starting. They already brought back Osweiler. Everyone knows by now how I feel about that guy. That guy needs to be far away from the NFL, but however, John Elway felt otherwise. Broncos defense will be great as usual. However, I just don't think they'll have enough to keep up with Phillip Rivers. I just don't see Phillip Rivers having a bad year this year. I think he'll put up points against that team, and Trevor Siemian will try to outscore him. It's just not going to happen on Monday night. So there you have it, all those games. My lock of the week is for sure tomorrow night, New England over Kansas City. And my upset of the week is Detroit over Arizona. Let me know what you guys think about these picks. I know this video is really long. I'm going to try to shorten it going forward. It's just that week 1, all the excitement and anticipation is there. That's why I'm so jacked up. So hopefully you guys will appreciate that. And, we'll talk about week 2 on next Tuesday. So see you then.